How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rowlett, and welcome back to a brand new rumor video and news video. So let's get started right off the bat with today's information. Kicking things off, we're going to have this post right here coming to us from Cerebi, and it's information that there is, yes, a new distribution event has been announced for Pokemon Scarlet and, of course, Pokemon Violet. This will be so you guys can get your hands on a Gyarados that's actually based on one of the high-ranking Singaporean players' Gyaradoses during the World Championship, during the Pokemon Championship Asia streams that are happening later this month. So basically, it's based on a Singaporean player's Gyarados. It's going to be given out. This is not the only one like this that they're doing. There's another distribution. If we just scroll down here on the official website if you scroll down on Cerebi's website, you guys may remember there's a distribution happening for another Pokemon, which is, of course, going to be Fluttermane. So you got to have both of these. This one actually starts on the 5th of May, so this is going to be Sunday. So it's not really that long until then. But basically, you have two distributions. Definitely worth getting, because remember, these special distribution Pokemon will not be available after a certain period of time, and you'll never be able to get them. It's just kind of a cool collector's item to have. Similar to how when you collect Pokemon cards, if you collect some of them today, in 10 years, they're going to be worth way more just because of, the scarcity of them and the ability to not buy them anymore. So just keep that in mind. It's just a good thing to get. Like I said, Gyarados is going to be the first one. It is one that's going to be showing up during the Asian Championship streams later this month, so sometime in May. And yeah, we're going to have to wait and see if anything develops else otherwise from that. But let's move on to the next thing, which is actually a pretty big piece of news that I think is worthwhile. And it has to do with the fact that the Pokemon Company and DNA, or Dana, have actually, and also if you guys do not know DNA, they're the same company that works on a lot of different stuff. They've made Pokemon Masters EX, so they're the people who created Pokemon Masters EX. They make a lot of mobile games, to put it in blunt terms, right? Like, if you actually look at their website and you see a lot of the stuff they're up to, they make video games, but they also do like other things, other services and stuff like that. But like, yeah, so they're involved with a few different things. And if you look at the company itself, an overview of like all their stuff, some of the stuff they have, involved with, it's of course a lot of mobile games, right? It's a lot of mobile games. Let's put it like that. So it's a lot of those kind of things, in case you guys are curious. But yeah, that's what they mostly do. However, it turns out that the Pokemon Company has actually partnered up with DNA, or Dana, and have repurposed a subsidiary company to now have a new name and focus, and the new company is going to be called Pokemon Card D Studio. This studio is to help on the development of the Pokemon TCG Pocket. Now, TCG Pocket is a game that's being made by Dana and also Creatures Inc. And Creatures Inc. are the ones who control the Pokemon TCG. They're the people in charge of the TCG who own it, run it, and they give off some elements of that to the Pokemon Company to handle instead, because the Pokemon Company is just a subsidiary of Creatures, or rather, it's a company that was created to exist to kind of handle all the Pokemon stuff by Creatures, Game Freak, and Nintendo, the three companies that own the Pokemon name, the Pokemon brand, and the Pokemon franchise, right? But basically, it's interesting because this is now the second game studio that's been created, right? Because Dana isn't the only one. Like, there is another company, which is Pokemon Works. Like, if we search up Pokemon Works, this is another company that's been set up, right? So the Pokemon Company sets up a new subsidiary called Pokemon Works. And of course, there's a post about it here. So the Pokemon Company has basically set up two different subsidiaries. In this case, though, they repurposed an existing subsidiary company, and the new name for that one and the focus of that one is Pokemon Card D Studio. However, this other one, though, is Pokemon Works, which is a different studio. And this one, the Pokemon Company has seemingly set up a new subsidiary in Japan called Pokemon Works. And this is a brand new one. After the company was registered on the 4th of March, as spotted by Cerebi Joe Merrick, the exact purpose of the subsidiary is unknown at this time. Well, it was actually updated and mentioned that it is to do with assisting and developing video games for Pokemon. That's has been confirmed now. But they say here, as spotted by Joe Merrick, the exact purpose isn't known, though it appears as though the location is the same building as Ilka. So yes, the development company behind the likes of Pokemon Home and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And you guys can see the actual post here from Joe Merrick back then. It's entirely possible the Pokemon work to be linked to Ilka in some capacity, though the later has also numerous dealings with Bandai Namco. So the location could well be coincidental at this point. Either way, hopefully we'll learn more about the new subsidiary from the Pokemon Company in due course. At the moment, the Pokemon Company itself is comprised of three core entities: Game Freak, Creatures Inc., and of course Nintendo. Those are the three companies that own the Pokemon Company, right? The company recently hosted a Pokemon Presents showcase where it showcased, Legends ZA and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, though, my point is this. There are now two new subsidiary companies that are going to be handling other stuff like that. Like, there are two new companies for that, which makes me very much question, like, it makes me kind of wonder about this whole thing. Where does this land then? Because we've got ILCA. We know for a fact that ILCA is going to be working on Pokemon Works, because a bunch of CFOs and like CEO people and like people that are like directors at ILCA have moved over to Pokemon Works, to this new company called Pokemon Works. They've actually literally moved over to it, which pretty much confirms that ILCA is involved with that. However, that's just one of the things. We also have the fact that we now have this other company called Pokemon Card D Studio, which clearly is going to be involved mainly with the TCG. So it makes me wonder, what is it that the ILCA studio is doing? What is it that the Pokemon Works studio is making? It's just an interesting situation. It's an interesting moment, and I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say in regards to that. But let's move now on to an actual 4chan rumor. So you guys know we're back at it again with the 4chan posts. It is what it is, boys. It is what it is. Classic, standard. We love them. Either way, here's what this one has to say, and this is what the post goes on to mention. It says, Pokemon Legends ZA leak/truth. Coup the fraud blue version. Now, okay, first of all, what he's referring to when he says coup, he's referring to Riddler Coup, who's a legitimate leaker. Now, people have said stuff about him, and they're up in arms against coup because of the fact that he has gotten some things a little bit off, or he hasn't provided full context, and sometimes he can be a bit too vague, which makes his points and everything he says a little less trustworthy because he's not 100% clear about it, hence why people, are kind of pissed at him in most recent time. However, what does this guy have to actually say? Let's ignore that part. Let's just accept the fact that Coup has been correct in the past. He's not been super correct lately, but hopefully he'll be having more info soon. However, what this guy says is the following. Small teaser of the game is coming in the Pokemon Nintendo Direct in June and July, which, yes, June is the earliest. Like, May is still a possibility. Like, this month is still a possibility. We're now on the 2nd of May when I'm recording this. It's still a possibility we could get something this month. Like, it is still a possibility, but the earliest we could get it, besides May, would be June or July. The most likely scenario is still that we get something in August, but there should still be a chance that we get something in June or July. There should still be a chance there for that, right? Now, they say that apparently a small teaser is going to be happening in the Direct in June, July, the Pokemon and Nintendo Directs, okay? It says that it shows off the playable characters and a bit of Lumio City. That's kind of what we would expect, right? Because we literally have no gameplay for Legends ZA yet. Now, we know the game is coming out next year, but they haven't really given us a release date. They haven't given us any gameplay. Like, we have basically zero information about Legends ZA. We know nothing about it. But apparently he says that we're going to be getting that and a bit of Lumio City. That would be cool. He also says Lumio City is mostly in construction and with some wild areas in each circle of the map. Okay, that, would make sense. That kind of is what we expect, right? The city is under development here, or redevelopment of sorts. And that those circles we've seen on the map, if you guys know what I'm referring to, if you don't, look up the map of Legends ZA, like Lumio City, and you'll see that there are little circles, like 5 of them around the map, and that those will be little wild areas. And if you don't know what a wild area is, if you haven't played Sword and Shield, wild area is just an open world zone where you can go and catch Pokemon. So that's kind of what he's saying. He says the wild Pokemon can be seen in these areas. Would make sense, right? Trainer fights are coming back. Well, didn't trainer fights, technically they did still exist in Legends Arceus, so I don't know what he means. Or like, does he mean like full-on trainer fights, like the same way we expected them or had them in the past? I'm guessing that's what he's implying. He says gyms aren't in the game, but a mix of island trials and noble Pokemon fights. So a mix between like noble trials and island trials and noble Pokemon fights that you would have to do in Legends Arceus, and the island trials, of course, were from Sun and Moon, right? So those were, instead of like gym battles, you had to do these trials for the different, kahunas, whatever they were called, which is fair enough. Like, again, that's something I would expect for this game. I'm not expecting gym leaders in this game, let's be honest. Next up, though, he says playable characters look like 1800s versions of X and Y's protagonists. So, again, wouldn't be that crazy if the game is set in the past. A style like that, again, would make sense. It wouldn't be too far-fetched necessarily. So, again, sounds pretty fair to me. But yeah, 1800s version of the X and Y protagonist. So Serena and Callum, I'm not really sure exactly how we're supposed to pronounce his name, but nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. Point is that those two would be the ones that we'd play again, or like a version of them, similar to like how we have like Hikari and whatnot in Legends Arceus, like how we have the two characters that just look like Lucas and Dawn. more or less. But yes, we at least know that most likely is going to be the case. He says that Lumio's Tower is where the final fight takes place after it's finally completed. I don't know how you would know this information unless you literally have a lot of information, unless you played the game already. That's the only way I could see you actually having this info. But other than that, how would you know that that would be where the last fight is? Again, I digress. It's just a rumor, so we'll continue. He says, though, Lumio's Tower is where the final battle takes place, and it's finally completed. Okay. The team behind the urban renovation, he says, but it's the redevelopment, right? The urban redevelopment in the game is the evil team. It seems pretty likely. We've already talked about Team Quasar, the name of the evil team, because of the logo that looks like a quasar, which is a spatial thing. And it makes sense, right, that they would be the ones behind it. He says that they seem to want to bring people and Pokemon together, but have bigger ulterior motives. That sounds just like what we had in X and Y itself, right, with Team Flare. It was basically the same thing as well. And then he says AZ is king. So it would be cool to see AZ as younger and AZ in a version, you know, prior to X and Y. That would be actually pretty awesome, and maybe the ultimate weapon and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, seeing AZ younger actually makes sense. And again, the name of the game is Pokemon Legends ZA. AZ, like, come on, AZ is gonna be in this game, no question about it. Like, this game's gotta have some top tier lore, man. If it doesn't, I'll be fuming. It's gotta have some next level lore, considering, like, you know, what it's being based on and the amount of stuff we already have lore wise about AZ and all that shit. It's gotta have some spicy freaking stuff in it. Otherwise, I'd be fuming. But he says, though, scrapped IDs for the third version of X and Y are used. So scrapped IDs for the third version. Now, he's talking about Pokemon Z. Now, Pokemon Z was actually supposed to be a game back in 2015. It was supposed to be the follow-up to X and Y, the third version, similar to how we had Emerald, Platinum, stuff like that. And that version, there's a whole leak, a giant post that goes through all those details about Pokemon Z version and what it was all about, what was supposed to take place in it, and stuff like that. And guess what? It would be pretty cool if they brought some of those elements from that giant leak and from that planned stuff. They brought it back here. Like, I think that would be perfect, like genuinely awesome. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see if that actually does happen. We don't know if it will or won't. Nonetheless, it is a waiting game right now. He says that Xerneas and Yveltal will be getting new forms. He doesn't point out what kind of forms. He just simply says new forms. That could be anything. Keep in mind, like, new forms could be megas, could be literally regional variants, could be forms like, you know, similar to how we had Groudon, Kyogre, or Dialga and Palkia, right? With their kind of like, you know, primal versions and their origin forms and whatnot. So that would not be that crazy. He says also that new forms have the theme of all for one and one for all throughout the design and lore. Now, that's a bit of a weird way to put it. I mean, the only way I can think of that is like one for all for one. Just makes me think of My Hero Academia, I'm not gonna lie. But it is a fair enough, I guess, theme. I don't know how it's gonna come through in the lore. Or is it like, again, one for all for one, so everybody working together to help one person, or one for all, one doing everything for everyone else. Like, again, I don't know how that would work lore-wise, but we'll see, right? Now, he says there are 15 new megas that are being added, which 15 would be a... Ooh, that would be a solid amount. Like, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but 15 Pokemon individually getting a Mega, like, that is a lot for them to do. Like, they wouldn't do that many normally. Like, I think they would even do less, but 15 would be a solid number. 15 new Megas actually would make sense. At least in my opinion. I think that genuinely would make sense. But then again, I could be wrong. You know, like, I could be totally wrong, but I do think it is a possibility. He says, Mewtwo, Aerodactyl, and Diancie don't exist in the main story, so their Megas can't be obtained until later on when time and space vortexes are unlocked. So they're basically not canon. Okay, Mewtwo, Aerodactyl, and Diancie, which all have Megas, don't exist in the main story, so their Megas can't be obtained until later on when time and space vortexes. So time and space vortexes, just time travel more or less, and, you know, like little wormholes to lead you into the future and whatnot, are unlocked. So they're basically not canon to the game. Okay, fair enough. He says that the A in the game stands for the 4th legendary that is summoned by the leader of the evil team, which, again, that seems like pretty standard Pokemon plotline. Doesn't sound that crazy. He says a Zygarde 100% form is seen at the end of the game to fight this. I guess you have to get it or whatever. And it fights the 4th legendary at the end of the game, which that would, again, make total sense for a plot for Pokemon. Again, it doesn't sound that crazy. We've seen this plotline done a lot of times already. It's, again, not that out of the realm of possibility, my friends. He says, this is all the information I've gotten told by 2 different sources. I have some more, but I haven't been able to get both of my sources to agree, so I won't be sharing that for now. However, he finishes this off by basically just attacking Ridley-Koo, saying that he's a fraud, that he never knew anything, that he's been fed fake information by insiders. But yeah, I don't really know if I wanna believe this random post. I know Koo has been correct, and he's given us a lot of information now for the last 5 years, so I'm gonna trust the guy who has a track record over the random post. But again, who knows? Maybe Koo has been hoodwinked now, but hoodwinked, not winkled. Hoodwinked. I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, though, let's move on to the next thing. So, first things first, by the way, I forgot to mention something. This post actually featured this fake leak of a fusion between Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde, right? Individually, merging with Zygarde, both of them. Like, it's a bit of a weird one. It's an obviously fake image. It was obviously fake, but it was something that people really theorized back in the day, but it never ended up happening. It was a fake Koro post, which I think is really funny. So, you've probably seen the thumbnail because I'm clickbaiting you, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, though, we have some really different stuff to talk about. First of all, we have the fact that Nintendo Switch 2 leaks have been happening. I covered this in my recent video, I think, that even more Switch leaks have come out, and there's just a lot of Switch leak stuff. Like, for example, the fact that the OG Joy-Con and Pro controllers are still going to be supported with it, and HD Rumble, and the new Joy-Cons will have HD Rumble. The Switch 1 game cards, so there will be, backwards compatibility of those on the Switch 2. The fact that the new Joy-Cons are larger and magnetically attached instead. That there are new home buttons on it. The dock still has USB-C with 4K support. The kickstand has been changed, and the screen is 8 inches and 1080p. So there's been a lot of changes in regards to that, and just information in regards to that. So just something worthwhile to keep in mind. Just saying. The other thing, though, as well, is got to be this right here from Uridan, who says that he's compiled a list of Pokemon that haven't been found in a Game Freak developed main game since Gen 7 to see if there's anything interesting in terms of what could be included in ZA. And he says that he really didn't expect Skitty to be one of the more neglected ones. So if you look at this list of actual Pokemon here that have been missing for a while, we put our camera down here, we go from the top. So first of all, Beedrill, right? Beedrill, Weedle, the boys. We haven't seen Beedrill and the boys since literally Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, right? Like we haven't seen these guys since Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They're native to Kalos, Route 2, and Santa Luna Forest, and they have a Mega Evolution in Oras, of course. So yeah, that's one that's missing. The other one is, of course, going to be none else than Pidgey and the Pidgey Evolution line. The most recent game that featured this was Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and they're native to Kalos as Route 2 and 3, and they have Mega Evolution. And again, these have all been missing since Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which is Gen 7, by the way. We're now in Generation 8. Generation 9. We're about to finish Generation. It's been 2 gens since we last saw these guys. Rattata, last game we saw Rattata in was literally Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as well. Moving down here, the last time we saw my boy Tailo, okay, and whatnot, the last time we saw him was in Ultra Sun and Moon and Ultra Space, and they're native to Kalos' Route 8 in Horde Encounters. So that's that. Moving on, you also have the missing Ledian and Lediba. You got them missing since Ultra Sun and Moon as well. Routes 4 and the Berry Fields. You have the fact that we're missing, Pharaoh, Sparrow. We're missing them, which actually I'm realizing now it's a lot of like early route Pokemon that are missing. But these guys are missing as well since Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They can be, they're not native to Kalos, only found in the Friend Safari. You have the fact that Skitty has been missing since Oras. I didn't even know this. We haven't seen Skitty since Gen 6. Oof. That is, since 2014, we haven't seen Skitty in a game. We also have the fact that, we're missing, I literally forget the name of, oh my god. How can I forget the name of see, I can't remember its name. Castform. There we go. Jeez, my brain. Castform. It's been missing since Ultra Sun and Moon as well as SOS battles. It's not native to Kalos. Kecleon has been missing since Ultra Sun and Moon as well. We have the fact that we haven't seen... Oh my god, the Elemental Monkeys have been missing since X and Y. That is... wow. You also have the fact that we haven't seen Patrat and Watchhog. We haven't seen Clamperl and Huntail them with Igorus-B. We haven't seen them since Ultra Sun and Moon. And then finally at the bottom here, we haven't seen Furfro since Ultra Sun and Moon either. So there's a lot of Pokemon that we haven't seen in a long time. I pretty much expect to see most of these guys return, especially the 2 on the top here, like the ones with the Megas. These are definitely going to be coming back, but I don't know about the rest though. But I'm definitely expecting these guys to reappear in some way, shape, and or form. Just because it would make sense. It would be weird for them not to do that, right? Like, it wouldn't be a little bit out of place for them not to do it? At least that's the way I see it. Again, I could be crazy here. I don't really know. But I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. And finally, I just want to finish off this video by mentioning that I'm going to be featured on the Pokey Doku. So Pokey Doku is basically a Pokemon Sudoku website, which is pretty cool. You basically go and do like Sudokus. If you guys have never played Sudoku, it's basically just matching things, and it's like a little puzzle that you do. But guess what? This is Pokey Doku, and I am going to be having one of my own actually featured puzzles. And today's puzzle is not mine. Mine's going to be tomorrow on Friday. So definitely go and try it. You guys can see right here, for example, a dark ice type. I don't know, Sneasel, I guess, would be one of these. Yeah, I'm sure that's Sneasel. Yep, I got it. There you go. And yeah, basically you just do this and you try to get it right and you try to match the things that you see. Like here, Dark Mega Evolution. Houndoom is like Houndoom Mega is like the only thing I can think of. Yeah, sure, boom, there you go. But yeah, it's just a cool little puzzle thing. Definitely check it out. Check out Pokey Doku. Like I said, my own puzzle that I made myself will be showing up. You guys can see right here. Like it will be literally showing up very, very soon on Friday, so tomorrow. So definitely go check it out, give it some love, and I appreciate you guys. And yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you all for watching. See you guys next time. Peace out.